The most common request that I get from people is to make more videos about kitchen gadgets. A few weeks ago, I thought of something and I ordered a couple of things, and I made the video about the first one and I've edited it all together, and I was looking at the video and thinking, you know what, there's just not enough here. It's just too simple, too basic. It looks like an advert, really, as much as anything else. So I thought, I'll add a second half onto it, which is this bit I'm shooting now. Anyway, here's me in the kitchen about a week or so ago. Because of this decent weather we've been having for the last couple of weeks, I've been sitting in the back garden, you know, eating my lunch and things. And then I was thinking, well, hold on, I'm not going to be going on holiday this year, hence the holiday shirt while I'm still at home. In fact, I probably won't be going on holiday next year, all for the foreseeable. So while I was sitting there, I was thinking, you know what would make this better? I could do with a snow cone machine. Yeah, it might not be the first thing that comes to your mind, but I was sitting there quite a while. So I bought one. Now this video might not take too long to do. I've really got no idea how elaborate this thing is. But anyway, let me get it out of the box and I'll show you how it works, well, whether it works, and how good it is. I imagine it's going to be a little bit cheap and noisy, but we'll find out. You know, this thing doesn't look as cheap and nasty as I imagined it would do. Okay, I've just given everything a quick clean, so I'll show you what we've got. First off, on the front here, this is the section that holds the cones, and we've got 4 plastic reusable cones. We've got 4 plastic reusable straws. This section is the ice shaving bit. I'll show you that in a second. And then we've got 2 dispenser bottles here. I've rinsed those out as well. And you can put your flavours in here, and then those sit on the back of the machine. So I'll just fill those up first of all. Right, so when I ordered the machine, I also ordered these 2 flavours, different sellers, but we've got strawberry and we've got blue bubblegum, both sugar-free, notice. That's very important to me. Of course, they're not going to be particularly healthy in any other regard, and you could substitute them with something a little bit better. But for the moment, I'm just going to try it out with these 2. Now, I could have just used these bottles with the dispenser top, but by putting them in these, they can fit neatly on the machine, and notice how they fold out of the way there until it comes time to use them. I'll just show you the ice container section here. So of course your ice goes in the top, it pops down through those holes there, and underneath here there's these rough sections which push the ice around on the bottom, and on the bottom we've got 2 cutters there. There's one here and one there. Now this can be switched off. If you twist it round, you can blank that out. I've got to be careful with my fingers here, of course, because those things are sharp, so you don't want anyone else messing around in here. As far as washing this goes, I wouldn't bother too much. I just rinse it out, and you don't need to go near those blades. But we'll open them both up like that. So now it's going to make 2 ice cones at the same time, and all we have to do now is just to put that centre part in here. You can see it's very easy to clean this. Just a matter of rinsing the whole thing out. And then this top section here, this key, that goes in there and then twists, and that holds the whole section together, and then it goes on the front of the machine. There's a hole here, and then there's 2 notches either side, and of course there's the cog that will drive around the section on the inside of here. So of course to light it up, just get that peg there, just light it up with the hole at the back. Notice we've got this section here which slides into that slot there, so just a matter of putting it in like that, and then we just need to plug it in and put some ice in the top. Now it's not going to switch on straight away. The way that the on-off works, it's on here. You can see, we might better make it on the top there. We've got on to the left, off to the right. Okay, so here goes. I'll just pop the top on and twist it to the left. Now it stops a little bit short there. I think if you were just doing 1 cone, that might have been enough, but we'll do it again. And there we go. We've got a cone full of, what do you call it? Snow? Shaved ice? Anyway, let's put some flavour into that one. Pick this one here. Let me give that a go. Grab a straw. Yeah, really can't complain. I mean, it shaves ice, puts it in a cone. What else do you want it to do? Tell you what, we'll switch it into single cone mode. The instructions aren't very good on this, but I've realised I'm supposed to hold the top, not let go, and then just turn it to the right when I've filled the cone up. So here goes. Now if you go a bit too far, of course, the only thing that you're dropping on the bottom here is a bit of ice, so that's easy to clean up. So yeah, works perfectly as far as I can see, and not too noisy as well. Okay, so it's a bit of noise, but I mean it's over pretty quickly as well, and a little bit of ice goes a long way. So there you go, that's the ice cone slushy maker from Neo. Okay, we're back, part 2. So yeah, that was alright, wasn't it? I mean, it kind of worked and everything. As I could imagine, as soon as I got that thing, the weather took a turn for the worse. In fact, it was hailing earlier on today. The sun's out now, but you know, the temperature has significantly dropped, so I don't want to be sitting in the garden with my snow coat. I'll tell you one thing I did with that though, I made a few really massive ones in a big cup and had a big slushy thing, which is kind of where this one comes in, because this is from the beer company, Japanese beer company Kirin. Probably pronounced it wrong. I pronounce everything wrong. Let's just assume that I've pronounced it wrong. Kirin is not the name, it's something else. But yeah, they did a promotional thing a couple of years ago, I think, where they started, you know, if you'd collected bottle tops or whatever it was, you could send off for one of these. And then these things were so popular, they ended up selling them separately, which is what I've bought just from Amazon. And I think the idea with this is, it makes a kind of beer slurpy type of thing. Anyway, whatever it is, let's get out of the box and see if it is any use at all. I doubt it, but we'll find out in a second. Okay, so yeah, a lot of steps in here. There's step 1, and then that goes into 7 steps. And then we've got step 2, and there's another 9 on there, and all at the end of it you get is looking like 1 glass of beer. Now, I didn't have any beer in the house, so I had to borrow some from a father-in-law. He had a few bottles. So the beer that you see in here isn't Kirin. I forgot what I got, but I think it's like Budweiser or something. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but it was the only one I could get hold of. So there we go. Now, the thing about these is, you'll see some people selling them on eBay for like, I don't know, $100 or something. I wouldn't pay that. I mean, I think I paid equivalent to like $40. Don't exactly know what to do next. Are there any instructions in that box? I thought it was empty. Down the side here, there we go. And I've got a little spoon thing with that as well. Okay, now this thing is too complicated for its own good, that's for sure. Just look how many parts there are in it. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take pictures of this and then put them into the Translate app, and then I can just highlight the bits as I go through them. All that for a drink. I suppose it gets quicker the more you do it. But you can see here at the end, I've got some kind of beer froth that I'm then putting on top of a beer. That's the end result. Is it worth it? We'll find out. Got to apologise actually for all the scratches and marks you might see around here. I've been fixing up a cassette deck, and those sort of black rubber feet you get on it, they put marks everywhere. No point cleaning it off because I haven't finished repairing it yet. It's going to put more down as soon as I do. So yeah, sorry about that. If you think you've got a black mark on the screen, it's more than likely on my worktop here. Anyway, let me scan this in and we'll see if we can get on with it. I always find the real-time translate to be a little bit flaky, but if you take a picture you can translate things like this. So this at the top, I think this will be the ingredients. So let's just highlight that. Right, so it tells me that we need 120 grams of salt, 350 grams of ice, which I separate into 200 grams and 150 grams, refrigerated water approximately 300 mils. Now the thing to note about the salt is that's not going in the drink, of course, that's just helping the ice to sort of melt and become slush. Right, now I believe there's an AC adapter inside here. Everything's packed inside. You're supposed to take it apart, so let's try and do that. I think I'll push these bits in here. The top should come off. Yeah, there we go. And no doubt that's the adapter. So let's see if this is multi-voltage. 100 to 240 volts, 50-60 hertz. So yeah, I can just put that in a travel adapter. And then there's this thing. Okay, I've broken this down. Let's hope I can get it back together again. So all these bits on this side, these need to be washed. Of course, the main motor section here, as well as the AC adapter, don't. One thing it mentioned, I saw at the top of the instructions, is the ice has to be smaller than 2 centimetres cube, so it goes down inside here. I think you're probably best using crushed ice if you can. I've just spotted that this thing comes off as well, so I've washed all these, need to wash that one. I also noticed that this comes apart, for what reason, not too sure, but I haven't cleaned properly in there, so I'll give that a good clean as well. So yeah, the whole thing basically comes completely apart with the exception of the motor. I suppose you could also clean around the inside of here as well, if you're careful not to get water into anywhere. Okay, now we've got it all apart, we've got to put it back together again. I've taken cassette recorders apart that have less parts than this. I've realised half the instructions are about taking it apart and putting it back together again. So we'll skip this section on the video. I'm going to put it back together again, and then we'll move on and get it to do what it's actually supposed to do. Okay, the first step is to add in 300 millilitres of water and 120 grams of salt. I'm just looking for the marks on the side here. It's unlikely you'll be able to see these, but there's a line at the bottom there that says water, and then there's another one that says water and salt. But you don't need to follow the lines, you can always measure the things out. And this is what 120 grams of salt looks like. It's quite a bit of salt, isn't it, just for a couple of drinks of beer. Of course, it's not going in the beer, it's going in this section here at the side. So I think the first thing you do is to add in the water and then add the salt afterwards, because otherwise the salt's just going to get stuck at the bottom. So that's your 300 mils of water, by the way, I've measured out there. So pop that in. See if it gets up to the mark on the side that they drew for me, which I keep losing. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Okay, so now water and salt, so we'll just mix that in and check it's come up to the next line. Yeah, I can feel it there. Okay, day 6 in getting this thing sorted out. I need 100 mils of beer, so I've got my Budweiser here. Just need to pour that up to 100, because that's the bit we're frothing up. So there we go. Right, so that goes into this section here now. I think I've got to put the lid on now, which is this bit here. See, I've got the thing attached to it still, so that goes inside here. Be careful not to catch it. It just clips on like that. Okay, so then we can move that to the off position. Well, it doesn't matter at the moment because the power's not plugged in, but I think that's the locking mechanism as well. Right, hold on, what are we doing now then? We're plugging the power in, and we're going to stick the ice in. Now it's 200 grams of ice. Now I started weighing the ice, and 200 grams, that's a lot of ice, but I think my scales are a bit off downstairs. It started going a bit like slow after it got to a certain point. So there is another mark on here, just about there. I can feel it with my finger. So when the ice gets up to that point, basically that's when we're in the right position. Right, so this goes in the back into the DC 9-volt socket. And now, let's just check. I don't have to switch it on just yet. No, leave it off, put the ice in and switch it on. Now, I think what happens is you put it to position 1. It does something for like 30 seconds. And then you move it to position 2 for 5 minutes 30 to get your froth. And if it melts, you're supposed to put more ice in. That's the idea. Okay, so, what was I doing? Oh yeah, putting ice in. That was it. How am I going to get that in there? It's going to go everywhere, this, isn't it? I'll just keep... Yeah, as I thought, it is going everywhere. Where's the mark on here? Oh, we're not there yet. I'll tell you what, if I didn't fancy a beer when I started, I certainly do now. Right, okay, so switch it to position 1, see what happens. Probably nothing, knowing my luck. Oh no, we've got action. Okay, now my question is it going to stop at 30 seconds? Or is it up to me to turn it to position number 2? This feels like 30 seconds at least by now. I think we're going to switch it to position number 2. Oh, there we go. Okay, if you can still hear me over the racket, here's what's going on. This is circulating the ice around the outside of the metal cup. The ice and the salty water. Then on the inside of the cup, we've got this thing frothing up the beer. Looking at this, I'd say there's not an awful lot of ice left in there. I've moved a bit further away so you can hear me a bit clearer. I mean, it's a big palaver, isn't it? But really, the instructions made it look a lot more complicated than it was. I think once you've used it once, you know how to use it again. Would anyone ever use it again? Well, we'll find out in a minute when I put the froth on top of this beer. Okay, that's it. That's 5.5 minutes. So apparently now I'll turn it round to open. There we go. Oh, I'm glad that stopped. And open it up and see exactly what we've got in here. Right, lift that off. Well, that's the idea. Come on, there we go. Ah, right. Well, there's your beer froth slush stuff. And there it is. Beer ice cream. I suppose that's about as close as I could describe it. Okay, so let's pour ourselves out a nice glass of beer. Apologies to Hawkshead Brewery for putting a Budweiser into your glass, but it was the only glass I could find at the moment. I should be doing that properly, side on like that. Okay, let's put our beer froth stuff on the top. Yeah, you can see, it looks just the consistency of sort of sorbet, really, beer sorbet. I'm using a lot here. In fact, I'm using all of it. I'll tell you what, let's just take that container out. Let's just make it easier on ourselves. This isn't how it's supposed to work, but I'm having difficulty getting the stuff out. Nice beer ice cream. Cheers. You know what, that's nice. I'm one of those people that has put ice in beer in the past, and it's like sacrilege, you know. How dare you put ice in beer? But it's your beer, isn't it? Do what you want with it. I think that's quite good. Now, the thing is, you think, oh, it's blocking all the beer in, but as you drink it, it comes through it and makes your beer nice and cold, so that's pretty cool. Well, literally. Okay, right, let's sum this up. The results are very good. The process to get to them, pain in the neck. Unlikely to be worth it for the vast majority of people, but now that I've got one, I do think I would do this again, but only kind of at a party or something, and just to demonstrate it to someone. I can't imagine sitting down myself thinking, oh, I'll get a beer, and then 20 minutes later, after I've faffed around, I've got my beer. You just want to get one out of the fridge and take the top off. But, I mean, if there was a shop that sort of sold these, like a bar, for example, they said, oh, we've got our new ice cream beers, try one, and they were doing this on an industrial scale, yeah, definitely have one of these. But whether or not it's worth all this hassle yourself, it's down to you, innit? Look, hold on. I think I deserve that. But yeah, links to these things in the video description. It's up to you whether or not you buy them. I'm not here as a salesperson. I'm here as a chap demonstrating stuff. And both things I've shown today I like, but, you know, they're not suitable for everyone. Anyway, that's it for the moment. What a weird video. As always, thanks for watching.